Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. We're continuing to look at Philippians chapter 1. Today we're looking at verse 7. This is where the Apostle Paul continues what he's already really started talking about up in verse 3 when he says, I thank God upon every remembrance of you. And then he mentioned, always in every prayer of mine, making requests for you with joy. Verse 5, for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun the good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Now, today we're talking about verse 7, and we're looking at a pastor's heart. In verse 7, just as it is right for me to think this of you all, because I have you in my heart, inasmuch as both in my chains and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel, you all are partakers with me of grace. Now, the Apostle Paul was definitely a persecutor, a zealous persecutor of the church originally. You read about this in chapter 8. He was standing there when Stephen was being stoned to death, holding the clothes of those who stoned him. My friend, Paul hated the Christians. It was when he was named Saul. But something happened on the road to Damascus when he met Jesus, and everything changed. And remember when Jesus met him on the road to Damascus, when Paul asked him, who are you? Jesus answered, I am Jesus whom you're persecuting. So Paul wasn't just a persecutor of believers, he was a persecutor of Jesus himself. Paul went on to give his testimony before Agrippa, I believe in Acts chapter 26. And there in verse 10, he said, this I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priest. And when they were put to death, I cast my vote against them. And then notice this, verse 11, and I punished them often in every synagogue and compelled them to blaspheme, being exceedingly enraged against them. I persecuted them even to foreign cities. Paul hated Christians originally, but something happened when he met Jesus and his heart was all changed. Paul then became a teacher after his conversion at the church at Antioch of Syria. Then he went on to become a missionary. They sent him out from there. Then he became a church planner, but most of all, he was a pastor, and he had a pastor's heart. And that's what he says here. It's right for me to think this of you all because I have you in my heart. What a beautiful expression. Paul's not just writing theology, he's expressing love. And this is a heart of a pastor speaking to people that he deeply cares about. I have you in my heart. Now remember, Paul's sitting in prison in chains, possibly facing execution, and yet he's thinking of others. This is what it means when he says, I have you in my heart. And this is what real spiritual leadership looks like. It's not distance, it's not code, it's not just instructional, because really people don't care what you say to them until they know that you care about them. It's sad over the years when I hear people tell me, my pastor doesn't even know my name. My pastor doesn't really care about me. He knows nothing about my family or my life. My pastor never really shows. He's a good teacher. He's a good preacher. He does all these good, but he has no idea what's going on in my life. You see, being a pastor is relational. And Paul just didn't preach to these people. He loved them. And this is something that happens both ways. A real pastor loves his people, and a real church loves their pastor. And that makes for a healthy church. I live here in Sneeds Ferry, where we have pastors from various churches I meet with every Tuesday morning for prayer. And I can tell you one thing about these pastors here, Sneeds Ferry, they love their people. They pray for their people. They do things for their people. They go out of their way and sacrifice for their people. It's a wonderful thing. And by the way, We have a sunrise service at Beach Access 4, Onslow County on North Topsail Beach, Sunday morning, 6:30. You'll be sorry if you don't come to this beautiful sunrise service. You live in this area. Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.